Hello and welcome. I'm Lucy Newport from Cultivate, and this class is all about your hips, making sure that you feel comfortable when you're sat at your desk around this area and that you feel more freedom and ease as you move. So for this one, you just want a cushion or pillow to sit up on, and if you have a yoga mat, bring that, but if not, don't worry about it, and we'll get started. We often start yoga classes in a cross-legged position, but it's also a really good place to just check in and see how your hips are doing. So if you notice that your knees are creeping up or that your lower back is rounding and it's quite hard to sit up tall, this is a really good time to bring in a cushion or a pillow or a couple stacked on top of one another to sit up on. Now, instead of sitting right in the middle of it, you want to come onto the edge so that it tilts your pelvis forward a little bit. Makes your knees come a little closer to the ground and easier to sit up tall. And yeah, it's just a much more comfortable place. So taking a moment to get yourself as comfortable as you need to. And when you're here, let your hands rest onto your knees. We're just going to take a little sway, rock from one side over to the other. I'm just doing this a few more times. So this is really nice if we've been sat in a chair for a long while. Coming to this cross-legged position might feel a bit of a shock to the system. So this just helps us to ease into our hips, into the lower back. Good, and coming through center, finding a place where you can bring your shoulders back over your hips, your head back over your shoulders. And taking a long breath in through your nose, sitting up a little bit taller. Long breath out of your nose and let everything soften a little. Good. We're going to keep breathing in and out of our noses. Nice, long, full, easy breaths. And as you do, imagine that your breath can travel all the way down to your hips. Imagining the exhales can take away tension with them. Good, just a couple more breaths like this, just settling into our practice. Good, and if you close your eyes, you can let them open. We're going to bring our hands just in front of our legs into a little forward fold. And you might stay here, or you might be able to walk yourself forward a little bit more. Feeling that stretch around your hips, deepening. Just leaning into that intensity a little bit, but not forcing anything. Nice long breaths. Maybe finding a gentle sway from side to side. And walking your hands back into your body. We're going to bring them behind us. Now for this next bit, you can stay sat on your cushion or pillow, or you can move it from underneath you. Whatever feels best for you. I'm going to move mine. So we're going to lean back into our hands, uncross the legs, and with knees bent, bring the feet to the floor a little bit wider than hip width apart. And from here, we're just going to bring the knees over to the right. You can let your left hip lift off the floor here. And through center, over to the left. And again, your right hip can come up. So just going to do this a few times, going from side to side. Just finding some nice movement through the hips. Should feel really good, this one. You might find that your bum wiggles across the floor as you do this. That's okay. You can just shift yourself back as you need to. We're going to do this a few more times, but this time keeping the opposite hip on the floor. So your knees might not come as close to the floor with this variation, and that's okay. We're just exploring, creating some more movement through our hip joints with this external and internal rotation if we're being technical. Good, let's do one more each side. Lovely. And coming to cross your legs in front of you again, just checking in here and noticing how you feel around your hips already. And we're going to lean to the right a little bit, uncrossing the left leg, and we're going to set our legs up in a 90-90 position. So what that means is you've got roughly a 90-degree angle through your front leg, and then roughly a 90-degree angle at your knee in your left leg. And you also want to flex your feet. So again, it's like you've got these little right angles. And once you've got this, just check in with your hips again. If you feel like your weight is being dumped into your right hip, that your left hip is much higher, you can grab your cushion or pillow again and just pop it underneath your hips or your right hip to even this out a little bit more. Good. Now this already might feel like a lot going on, which is understandable. This is quite an unusual position, but we're working on our hip mobility now. So this is really important for the strength around our hips and feeling more comfortable and able to move better. So we're going to bring our hands into a little gentle fist just alongside us. Going to take a long breath in here. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your body forward a little bit. And inhaling, coming back up. Now moving with your own breath and your own time, we're going to keep this going forwards and back. You might find that you can bring your chest quite close to your leg. Maybe you want to make it a smaller movement. As always, just keep listening to your body. Only going as far as feels good for you, but still feels like you're doing something. Lovely. Let's do 3 more. Really pressing both of your knees into the floor as you do this. And last one. Good. And you can relax your hands down. We're just going to lean to the right, cross this left leg back in. You can come off your cushion or pillow. Just closing your eyes here and noticing if you can feel any subtle differences between your left and right hip. And if you can't today, that's okay as well. Just noticing. Lovely, and we'll lean over to the left a little and crossing that right leg. And again, setting up our legs in this 90-90 position. As best as you can, it doesn't need to be perfect. And if you want, you can bring that cushion or pillow underneath your left hip this time. So you can sit up a little taller without all your weight crashing into this left hip. I'm going to do that. We're going to turn our bodies so they're facing over this left shin. Bring our hands into these little fists. Long breath in. And as you exhale, folding forward from your hips. Inhaling back up. Good. And keep it going. Keep this lift through your chest as you move down and up. Going as far as feels good. We still feel supported. Lovely. Let's do 3 more. Not rushing them. Good, and last one. Lovely. Letting your hands relax back down. We're going to bring both of our feet behind us. So we're coming up onto our hands and our knees. You can either use your cushion or pillow to pad your knees here, or you can just pop it to the side for now. Lovely. We're going to walk our hands all the way over to the left and bring the right foot up to the top of the mat and walk your hands around back to frame it. You might want to reposition your back knee either further forward or further back. Just bringing your right knee roughly over your ankle here into our low lunge. Now we're going to come off our fingertips and interlace our hands on the thigh just above your knee. We're very gently drawing the hips forward and down. So if this feels really intense, you can always shift your hips back. Staying with these lovely long breaths. Finding that stretch across the front of your left hips, your hip flexor. These lunges are so good when we spend lots of time sat at a desk. I think I put them in pretty much every yoga for desk workers class I teach. Lovely, 2 more full breaths. And after that second breath, shifting your hips back a little bit. Bring your hands to the left. Bring your right foot back alongside your left. We're just going to pause again, noticing if there are any subtle differences between your left and right hip, around your thighs and your lower back as well. And bring your hands to the floor, walking them around to the right a little bit so you've got space for your left foot to come up. Walking your fingers around to frame the foot. And again, adjusting the position of your back knee so it's wherever feels good for you. And there's nothing wrong with having your knee over your ankle, but it's just a nice place to come to with your knee above it for this lunge. And when you feel supported here, we're going to come off the fingertips, interlacing your fingers. Bring the opposite thumb in front this time, above your knee. Gently pressing it away as you draw your hips forward and down. Nice long breaths. If you feel a bit unstable here, you can always try tucking your back toes under. Some of us find this variation more stable, others with the back of the foot on the floor. So just have a little play and see what works best for you. Keeping your chest lifted as you gaze forward. 2 more breaths. After that second breath, shifting your hips back a little, fingertips to the right, left foot comes back. We're going to come to our yoga squat now. So you're going to bring the hands to the floor and just lean some weight into them. Letting your left foot come to the floor, toes pointing out, leaning into that left foot, and the right foot comes to the floor. So heels maybe as wide as your mat. And we're going to set ourselves up here. And if you notice that your heels are lifted, that is okay. So you can either practice here, you'll just have to rely on your balance a little bit more, or if you've got your cushion or pillows to hand, you can use them underneath your heels so you've got that bit of support. So finding what works best for you today. And whether your heels are down or not, we're going to bring our hands together with our forearms gently pressing inside of our inner knees. And use this pressing to open the knees and the hips a little wider. This best as you can, lengthen through your whole spine. Chest lifts, looking forward. Nice long breaths. This again is another amazing yoga pose for us desk workers. If you feel like your knees are rolling in and that you're collapsing in your inner foot, really think about drawing the outer edges of your feet to the floor. Good. 3 more breaths if you can. I know this can be quite an intense one, so sticking with it. Lovely. After that 3rd breath, we're going to slowly release the arms. Hands come to the floor and leaning some weight into them. We're going to release the right shin back to the floor, followed by the left. Bring your big toes to touch. Knees come as wide as your mat. And walking your hands forward, settling into a nice wide leg child's pose here. If your head doesn't come to the ground, again, you can bring something in front of you to rest your head on here. Maybe you want to fold your cushion or pillow in half so you've got a bit of extra height. Maybe letting your eyes close if that's comfortable. And again, imagining your breaths can travel all the way down your spine to your hips. Relaxing tension with every exhale. Good. There's nothing you need to do here in this pose. Just let gravity do the work as you allow your body to soften in towards the floor. Staying here for 3 more breaths. And after your 3rd breath, gently press into your hands as you lift your head, walking them back in towards you. We're going to come back onto our bums, back to our cross-legged position. And again, if you want to sit up on something, doing that now. Lovely. When you're here, hands can rest back onto your knees. You can let your eyes close if that's comfortable, or soften your gaze towards the floor. Shoulders over your hips, head over your shoulders. Just noticing how you feel right now. And especially noticing how you feel around your hips. And when you're ready, you can let your eyes open. Thank you so much for joining me for this little class. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you're feeling good around your hips. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss any future classes for desk workers, please make sure you subscribe to this channel and ring the bell. And if you know someone who you think will enjoy this class too, please do share it with them. It really does help a lot. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Take care.